everyone, I want to welcome you to my YouTube channel. This is Steve the Game Man, the Java Game Man. I'm going to continue the session on the tutorial session as I've been showing already. I've gotten a request probably a good couple weeks ago, somebody asking how the collision detection works within this game. Although Indie Developer explained it very well, unless you've been following his tutorials all the way through, you may have not caught that. So I'm going to show you what I came across and how I learned it, basically. So currently what I'm looking at here is actually what's called the check class, or basically check collisions. And I basically took the notion upon myself to rename one of his instructors or his methods, just because I didn't want to lose the original method that I had put in the actual program. So anyways, I call it impact block, which basically means it's impacting a block, and I'll go over that here in just a moment. What this does is it actually takes and it's scanning through all the blocks here. You'll see it's actually looking inside of this class, which is tilemanager.blocks. And let me actually reopen that since I didn't have it open here. Okay, so inside of tile manager, you'll notice here it's got a copy on write ArrayList Block. So this is keeping track of all the blocks that are being loaded into the screen currently in memory. And it uses a special loop here to kind of, it's basically through the ticking to kind of scan the blocks here. Like I said, he kind of explained this before, but basically this is ticking the blocks and the delta time to kind of figure out the increments of when the blocks are going to display and stuff like that. And what it does is actually, the whole idea of this tile manager is it just basically is used to check that there's a drawing going on with the blocks. Easiest way I could explain it there. So anyways, going back to the check class here. So once we have that going and we're scanning the blocks, we know that that's what's going on here. We're checking each block individually. Now what this does is it sets up what's called a Boolean flag for each block, and I'll show you where this code actually resides at. You'll see this one is actually the treasure chest. And if you go over here to block, I've showed this class before, but this is the class that actually draws the individual blocks, or basically sets them up and initializes them from the buffer image. And that's what this is doing. If you look here, block type is basically loading each of these into the block. Going back to the check class here, you can kind of see this is where the block is originating from. So .is treasure chest basically is going to check another part of the method. So what this does is the dot is basically, let me kind of show you that here. Block dot is going to look inside of that class and see what kind of methods or constructors are basically stored there. And this is where you can actually build upon it. So going back here, we'll skip over to down to the treasure chest here to kind of show you where I set it up. This is basically setting up the return for it. So I think it should be somewhere here, right here. So it's basically saying, is it a treasure chest? And it's going to pass this reboolean value into another part of our program, which I'll show here in just a minute, to determine that it's basically triggering that exact block. So as a result here, you just basically go up here and you initialize it here. There isn't really much else you would really have to do with it. Just going to check it here real quick, make sure I didn't miss any. Oh yeah, that. So right here is where you actually set up the actual call for it. And this is what's passing it in. You use the this, so it basically looks inside of this class alone. So it's basically looking inside of the block to make sure that you're checking for the treasure chest. This is going to be looking at this right here, basically. So what it does is it works in a different part of the program later, which is in roll.java. And this is where basically you might as well say, other than get initialized, this is where it is defined when the player passes over a certain point or a certain block in the game, or tile if you would. So down in here, I actually have it stored into each individual, well not each individual, in this example we have it stored into where the treasure chest is being drawn. And I might have to scan it if I can't find it. I think it's down here somewhere. Let's see. Right here. So here's where the treasure chest is actually being drawn here. It's using this color coordination to try to find it and locate it in the map, and I've showed that in another video. I guess I could show you here real quick too. So let's just copy this real quick. I don't want to make this too long, but nor be repetitive anyway, but I wanted to try to make this as clear as I can. So let's look for map 5 here. And this is the actual map where it's scanning. These are all the blocks it's scanning through basically. I'm going to go over here. And you won't probably see this. I notice this color, whatever, it doesn't actually, this palette thing, this little window box doesn't actually show up on the screen anywhere for some reason. Even if I move it off the screen, it doesn't seem to show up anywhere. Anyways, what I'm doing is I'm scanning inside of here for that color that we typed in, so which is the FF6A00, and it's actually an orange square. And then I'll zoom in here to show you. If you see these little orange squares right here, this is the treasure chest. Anywhere you see a little orange block, I don't think I have a whole lot of them around here. There's some down here. This is where the treasure chests appear. This is a treasure chest. So it's basically looking for that treasure chest to begin that part of the collision detection. So once it finds that, it's going to plot that little block on the screen, and this is actually drawn in the actual buffered image, and it's a little complicated, but it's basically looking inside of the block class. It's positioning a vector at its x and y coordinate, and here is where it's actually drawing in the chest. This chest.1, this right here is what actually does the buffered image. You change this, you're going to get a different buffered image, of course. And then here we got, of course, our boolean flag, and it's set to true, so we know that there'll be a collision detection. If you set them to false, they never can detect the actual collision because the loop's not set up that way for it. So anyways, we know that there's a collision going on here, so if there's a collision, then we move to the next part, which I'll explain this. If block P1 contains block P2, what this is doing is checking a point somewhere where a block collision is occurring. And let me kind of explain this by opening up a different, I think I might have it open here, opening up the sprite sheet. So these are all actually the collision blocks. So I'm just going to copy one of these to show you, since we're using the treasure chest as an example. Needed some kind of a character, whatever, to copy here, but it doesn't really matter which one I copy. So let's just say we'll just use this. We'll just use this one as an example to demonstrate with. I'm just going to copy this little orange block here, just so I can kind of use it inside of memory here. Okay, so where's the treasure chest? It's up here. Right here it is. So we'll move up here. We're going to hit a Control V to show you something here. So it basically makes my square appear here. So this is our block, or our point P1, P2. And let's just pretend this is our man, and he's moving down the screen here. And all of a sudden, he comes in contact with the treasure chest. It's actually this one right here. It comes in contact with the treasure chest, so he passes over this coordinate right there. First time he passes over it like that, it's already detected that there's a P1 and P2 going on. And as soon as it is, it's instantly going to be able to execute any code that you create in the game. In this case, I just basically make it check for the chest, and some of this is older code, but this was another detection routine I was doing. But basically, it's going to count the treasure chest, and it's going to print out a log to the screen so we know that it's working. And here it's going to make a sound effect, or it's going to increase the game score, and then here's where it's going to create the little ching sound when it hits the treasure chest. That's basically how that works. And the same thing for any other object in a game. In this example, here's a diamond ring. To not be repetitive anything, I'm going to go back here anyways, back to the world class here. It's actually right here. And we know that this is basically going to look inside of that, as we demonstrated earlier, the color map here until it finds that actual color. And then of course that color here is going to be indicating that we're hitting a diamond. Let me actually increase this. I should have made this a little bit bigger. Sorry guys, I keep forgetting I gotta enlarge these screens because Windows usually doesn't do a good job of really seeing the screens yet. So I'm going to enlarge that a little bit there. Maybe shrink this down a little bit. That's good. Okay, so anyways, we passed over and we found the treasure chest, or sorry, the diamond ring. and we're setting that to true to basically check that flag. And of course, once you find the diamond ring, it does the same thing. It passes over those coordinates, just like I demonstrated in my example earlier. It's going to look on here for the diamond ring, and it's going to basically be moving this player along. He's this one right here until, boom, he passes over the point for the diamond. So we know that there's a collision occurring there. Actually would be as early as that. So that's basically how it all works, and I just pass in each different one for whichever block I want to use to determine the collision. That's as simple as it comes. And also, what you want to do is you want to activate this code, this impact block, inside the player class, so that it's running inside of the loop here. So I'll go down here real quick, show you where it's first contacted at, which Indy explained this very well before, but it's basically checking inside of the maps for the collision. Here to say if you're moving him up, there's a collision going on. If you're moving him down, there's a collision going on, and so forth. And basically that's all it's doing, is once there's a collision, it's going to increase the speed of the player. This is for the player hitting the blocks and stuff like that. And that's basically it. I don't have it currently working on the up. I have it working on the left and the right. So let me just go to those real quick. I'm just using one example. So basically it kind of does work on any of them anyway, because it's already looking inside of here for the impact block. And what I did is I actually created my own points. Originally he had code in here that was just basically checking a long giant array, and I shortened it just to look for a point A and a point B, so that I could easily pass these into here and just kind of save on some room, code room, and stuff like that. Anyways, I hope this video was helpful for you. Please like and subscribe to this channel if you want to see more Java videos, and I'll be doing a lot more coming up, and appreciate your views and everything and all your support. And this is Steve Morrow signing off. Thanks for watching.